Hi everyone, I'm Jan from Pins and Needles in Cleveland, Ohio and Sew It Online. We started the Million Mask Challenge. We've had hospitals, nursing homes ask us for the masks. So let's clarify this right now. Whatever mask you're making, I'm sure is so needed and so helpful. We have worked with hospitals to get the exact mask that the physicians and the nurses are asking for. Now, this is a group in the hospital that is assigned to this job, but I don't want to discourage you making any mask you can make. But we are updating our files on a regular basis as to what materials are available and what masks need to be made. So I'm going to go over them again today. You can go and get this pattern at sewitonline.com and you can print out this pattern. I'm going to go through the pattern again as we are constantly getting people giving us ideas to make them better, to make them easier, to make them faster. But whatever you're doing, please take this as a very necessary thing. We need millions of these masks worldwide. We need everyone sewing them. So we appreciate all the calls and the emails from Hawaii yesterday. I was talking to a gal. They didn't need them over there, but they're going to ship them to us. So how awesome and how beautiful that is that the sewing community is coming together. The fabric first is going to be the best you can get. So therefore, I know a lot of the sewers have a large lot of fabric in your stash that you can start using. The pattern will tell you exactly how to cut them out. We need 2 pieces, right sides together. That's it. Okay? Now, you don't have any fabric. First of all, I got kits all ready that I can ship to you. You need a sewing machine? I got sewing machines I can ship to you. Therefore, whatever you need to help with this challenge, we have. So first thing, let's go over how to sew them. And let's go over the changes in the patterns. My customers, again, have given me ideas. I'm going to pass them on to you. And we'll see if we can get a bigger assembly line of going with this. It's real important for us to know, and the hospitals to know how many are coming. So if you've made 60, you've made 100, let's get them to the proper authorities ASAP. Because we need to know how many we have. We need to know how many more are coming. So if you've heard that they're not perfect, that they're not sanitary, that they're not nothing, they're not good enough, we've heard it all too. But they're still asking. They don't have masks of exactly what they need, so these are better than nothing. These are better than bandanas. I was told the other day that the doctors over in China were having to have people make their own masks. So we're one step ahead. We're making them for them. So now I'm at the point that I need to sew this together here. We're going to do this step by step. We've changed a little bit. You can watch with me. People have been asking me, they have their old grandma's sewing machine out. Some people don't even know how to thread them, how to wind a bobbin, what to do, what stitch to use, etc., etc. I'm going to go slow enough so that I can catch everybody. I'm using a Baby Lock Brilliant. It's one of the it's what I call the baby at the top of the line, just to know. When you thread a sewing machine, and I'm going to have you just watch right here, everybody can learn from this. I'm going to thread my machine, and there's usually numbers on the machine telling me where to go, where you come down on every single sewing machine and work to the left and work to the left, and it's down and it's up. Hopefully your sewing machine has got arrows on it. But the trick that I want you to watch is when I come down to this level right down here. So I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can't go wrong. Now watch this, and let's get right here into the needle. I'll get my hands out of the way. At this present moment, when you have Grandma's sewing machine, to tell you if it's sewing right, what you're going to do is pull the thread. And hopefully you can see the thread coming through. Okay? Now I'm going to put the presser foot down, and I'm going to pull the thread, and it should be very tight. That means it's in the tension properly on the top. If everyone would do that, the minute they start sewing, every time they sew, they will always work. So if you're jumbling at the bottom, I just gave you a trick. The presser foot has to be up to sew, down, up to thread, and down to sew. Now on my machine, I can just put the needle back, front to back. Okay, so no problem on that. For some of you that are a little older, I'm going to give you a little hint. There's top stitch needles for your sewing machine. And the sewing machine are the same, but the eye of the needle is 5 times larger. So if we're trying to get our grandmas to sew, because they know how to sew, some needles, some top stitch needles are real nice to have. Okay, I'm through here. I'm going to go over to here. My machine is a self-threading, so I'm just going to go right on over here, come on down, and watch right here. It's going to thread the needle for me. If you aren't so fortunate to have a self-threading needle sewing machine, make that on your bucket list for a feature that you want on the next machine you purchase. What I'm going to do right now is I hope everybody knows how to thread a machine. You got to put a bobbin in. Anybody who gets stuck, you're putting the bobbin in. There's some type of a tension guard down here. So on mine, all I do is flip it over and it will cut off. On a lot of machines, you may have to bring up your bobbin thread. So take your top thread, and turn your hand wheel till the bobbin thread comes up. These machines now we don't have to do them with. That's why you get so spoiled. All right, now what I'm going to do for the sake of easiness is we want about 1/4 of an inch seam. There's a 1/4 inch foot you could put on. Don't let that stop you. Just use the edge of your presser foot for your stitching. I'm using a regular foot control. I'm using a regular plain straight stitch at this point. I'll do another video on how to do them on a serger. All I'm doing is going around the curve using the edge of my presser foot as my guide, approximately a 1/4 inch seam. Make sure everything is reversed. You're going to cut your threads however you can do that and lift your presser foot. Now, all I've done at this present moment on this one is I have done the inside curve. I am using 4 different pieces of fabric just so in the visual of a video you can see what I've just sewn. If I use the same fabric, it's not quite as apparent to you when I'm in a teaching mode as this. As far as I've had a little gal tell me that her mom made them and made 4 different colors because she did exactly what I said. So you don't have to do that. So now I'm going to turn down the edges of this as I'm going. So all I'm going to do is to handle one piece at a time, and I'm going to turn down my edges. If you have a serger at this point, I don't have to stop. I have a serger, I could have just serged and went right over to the other one. I'm going to release this, I'm going to turn it and flip this one on this side. I know there's lots and lots and lots and lots of patterns and lots of everything doing it. Again, we're in Cleveland and we are in need of 100,000 masks. Please mail them to Pins and Needles. So let's back up a minute and make sure everyone knows where we're at. We're at the point that we have stitched around here, which is the princess line of the mask, and we have folded over both raw edges on this piece. I am 100% done with this particular piece of fabric. I'm going to do the same thing, putting right sides together and stitch this one. You can't go and make enough of these at this present moment in our lives. Okay, I've done the edges. One thing that is going to make it more comfortable for the end users, if we take a few seconds here and trim this so that it's got a little bit more give. It only takes a second. I just trimmed it, just gave it a little slit about every inch. I have to go here and turn under both edges here as well. And I have changed the pattern a little bit from listening to everybody. You don't have scissors on a sewing machine. Make that the next thing you get. Do you see how easy it is for me? Do you see that I can just start sewing again and I don't have to hold my threads or anything? All I have to do is to start sewing and I'm ready to go. Reverse and reach up and cut. Okay, so therefore I have the same on both sides. At this point, we need a little bit of wire up here. So how we've decided to do that the easiest is to take both of our pieces and put right sides together. We're going to sew from one to the other, from here down. If you feel more comfortable sewing from the center down, then take the extra 3 seconds and do it that way. I'm turning the seam allowances. One side goes one way and one side goes the other way. Do you see where this is going to the right? That's going to the left. It might be smarter and easier, especially if you're getting newbies on this, to possibly sew from the top down. Reverse, not cut. Now I'm just going to go, and I'm going to go to the other side, and I'm going to sew from the seam down on that way. It just might be a cinch, a little bit easier for some of you. Some of you will whip right across it. It's amazing how many people are coming out to help this cause. It's absolutely a beautiful thing. I found that charity work brings out the best in all of us, but you know what? I also found over the years that people who do charity work, it comes back to them tenfold. So it's really a pretty cool thing. I had a call yesterday of somebody that said to me, a quick way to put the wire in, and that was a kind of a nice little thing. I'm going to pass it on to you. I'm using just jewelry wire because it's what I had. It's about a 20 gauge. Some people have said that they went to the stores and they're in the picture frame department, and in the picture frame department they're buying a 20 gauge wire to be able to do, and it absolutely works perfectly. Very inexpensive. I'm turning it down just so it doesn't poke anybody on both ends. Now I'm going to sew that into my seam allowance. Do you get it? So I'm going to take this and sew this into the seam allowance so it stays where it's supposed to. One of my customers, they called me up and told me that if they started it with a piece of tape, they found out that it was so easy for them to go in and zigzag over this. So all I'm going to do is to set my zigzag and go over the wire. I'm trying the tape thing for the first time. Certainly makes sense to be able to sew over a little piece of tape. I wish you could see that better, but it's just Scotch tape. I'm going to go and take a zigzag on my sewing machine, and I'm going to stitch over the cord. All of you are, if you go on Sew It Online and you make a mask for our 1,000 Mask Challenge, we are going to give you a series of my classes that is called A to Z Sewing. And at some point, whenever you got time or you're listening to your iPad and you could listen to that, you'll have a lot of fun. It's a lot of things that you might not know in the sewing industry or sewing machine that you can do. And yes, for you that have been sewing for 40 years, you still might be shocked. I've been in the business for 40 years, so you learn all the tricks over the years. Do you see, if possible, that I have just zigzagged over the cord on the right-hand side of my seam allowance? Okay, on the outer side of my seam allowance, I've zigzagged over a little bit of wire. Now, I've had people use twist ties. I've had people use paper clips. So whatever, the little thin paper clips, I've used them. So do what you can do so that there's a little bit of movement there for when they get on the mask of the workers to be able to stay there on their nose. All right, folks, I'm almost done. I probably could have made 10 in the time that I'm taking to make this video. And you'll be surprised how fast you'll get at them too. Oops, forgot to go back to a straight stitch. So all I have to do is to push a button here and I'm back to the right size of what I wanted. It's been kind of fun. I've had a lot of people tell me that grandkids are involved. I had Kathy tell me that her husband never paid attention much to her sewing, and he's in there cutting. Now, how exciting is that? So we're really reaching people, and the nurses and the doctors these are going to are reaching us. So it all goes around. It's really a pleasure to be in a position to be able to help those in need. All right, I'm done with my mask, except I've got to put my ties on. Can you see where it's this way? Now, they're going to wash them. They're going to sterilize them. Do your best if you've washed your fabric, that's nice. If you're going to drop them off at Pins and Needles, there's a bin out front that you can put them in. If you want to mail them to Pins and Needles in Cleveland, we are desperate for them. The address is 7300 Pearl Road, Middleburg Heights, 44130, Ohio. Okay, now you need to talk to any of us. You can communicate through pinsandneedles.com on an email. And we are doing curbside pickup. We'll do whatever we can. We are shipping sewing machines out to people who need sewing machines. They are coming to you freight free. There's fabulous buys because of all this. This is a Baby Lot Brilliant. It always is about a $16.99 retail value. They have put it out for $899. There's another one right back here called a Jubilant Out of This World machine. It's got the threader, $499. I got sewing machines on there for $99. I am trying to do videos to make sure everybody knows how to thread every single one that if they decided to purchase. I will be glad to help you learn to thread the sewing machine you are at right there at home. If there's any help you need, please reach out to pinsandneedles.com, sew it online, and we will try to work with you. The last thing that I need to do is to go across here. So I've got this finished, but I'm going to turn this down. We gave you a little bit more room on this pattern. I just extended this piece a little bit. Don't change if you're doing well with what you're doing, but I was trying to give it a little bit more room for the ties to be able to go through for the normal consumer. Again, please don't change what you're doing. Every one of these things are very needed. All across the world. It's pretty cool though, when they call from Hawaii and say they're going to ship them. That's pretty cool, don't you think? Okay, so now what I want to do is just to turn this one down. Do you see what I'm doing? All raw edges are finished. All raw edges are done. I'm going to string my string through next. Now, do you have elastic? You might be, elastic is not available in the normal 1/4 inch. The suppliers are trying to get it in. It's hard and not available at this present moment. Can you use 3/8 inch? Yes. Can you use 1/4 inch, 1/8 inch? Yes. You can use whatever you want to. The recommended elastic is a 1/4 inch. So now, the physicians, everybody's got a different opinion. What they've asked me for is ties. Ties will work, elastic isn't available. Oh well, we won, right? So at this present moment, we want to put ties going from here up and here down. So all that I'm doing, take a look here. See how my wire makes it stay perfectly? I am putting the ribbon right through. I'm using grosgrain ribbon. I happen to have a lot, and so I'm using grosgrain ribbon at the moment. I have sergers that we are putting on a foot that we can, it'll turn and turn for us on our new sergers. Use that if you have it. If you just want to sew a 45-inch strip and sew it down, turn it and turn it, that's fine. I have people using shoelaces telling me that's great. Whatever you're going to use is going to be awesome. Until these real masks, remember, the real masks, we are not trying to say these are perfect. We are not trying to say that these are good enough for the health professionals. They are not, but they are the only thing available at the present moment. We need 100,000 in the Cleveland area alone within 3 weeks. I repeat, 100,000. So imagine everyone needs them. So please reach out. Please do as much as you can. And please pass this on to others. Please go to Sew It Online and you can get all the information. You can get the free pattern. You can buy supplies if you need it. Tell us what you need. We're here to help you. I'm going to do this last little piece. I have a loop turner. You might have one of these in your stash. All it is a hook, and this reaches up and clips over it. So it's almost like a safety pin. So instead of using a safety pin, I can use my loop turner. It's a little faster. Are safety pins okay? Absolutely. So all I'm doing is sticking it through. I'm going to reach up, grab my ribbon, my tie, my shoelace, whatever you have, and I'm going to close it and pull it right through. I've noticed that we have collection bins out at Pins and Needles, and I would tell you that if you would take one section and tie this, just to make sure that they do not pull out during washings or anything. It's only one more little thing you can do. I tied about 100 of them today for others, but just to make sure that the ties stay in place, I'm just doing a double knot. I've heard many ways to make these. I've heard of every trick in the book. Keep sewing. It's all that's important. It's something that the sewing community needs us. The medical community needs the sewing community right now. And how awesome that we're there. Do you know we give things away to all the hospitals through our baby care program, through our Giving Doll program, through our making things for the vets. We do this on a regular basis. But I think we need to step it up, because as many people that are reaching out and sewing for this, there's people in need all the time. Let's take care of this need right now. We'll get back together at another time, and I'll show you what we're doing for the babies and the people in need. Okay, so first of all, you got it. It's on. This is now for you to make sure. Everybody's asking, how are they wearing them? This is going over the head, and they will tighten them like this. Don't I look pretty? Okay. They're tight here, they're tight down here, and they're tight here. That's what they want. So, again, anything we can help you with, go to Sew It Online. There's fabric there, there's machines there, there's instructions there. Please let us know how many you're making and what's the impact that you have on it. Let's share and have fun with this. You can join our Facebook group. It's a Million Mass Challenge. They're talking to each other. They're encouraging each other. They're showing off what they're made. We can have fun and help other people at the same time. Please join us some way. Keep going. Thank you all for all you do. We'll see you again real soon.